So hi everyone, I'm going to do a bit of a Q&A today. It might have a little bit of an ASMR feel if things go right. But I'm just going to give Wonky a little bit of a brush before I go and ride her. But I'm going to answer some of your questions that you've given me as comments in other videos while I brush her. So first of all, I'm going to brush her. And I've got Beth with me today, and Beth is camera lady extraordinaire as always, and Beth is going to tell me what you've asked me on comments on some of the other videos. What breed is Wonky? Wonky is a British bred Gelderlander, sometimes called a Gelder's horse, and they are a traditional warm blood breed from Holland that were originally bred to be agricultural horses, light draft horses on the farm, very useful horses. They were used in cavalry, in the army, as police horses. They are a all-rounder, but they have this agricultural background of being a really useful horse, particularly for driving, and just generally being a good farm horse.
What bridle do you use?
I use several different bridles. I'm sure if you watch some different videos of mine, you'll see that I have sometimes in a double bridle. She has a Bliss of London double bridle and custom made bomber's bits. Wonky has quite an odd shaped head. It's very thin, like there's not much width between her eyes, so it's surprisingly short up over the top, so we've had to Bliss of London made her a bridle that's got the full-size headpiece, and then she has pony-sized cheek pieces to get rid of some of the length, because she's actually not that long through her head. Good girl. And then she has a drop bridle, which is also from Bliss of London, and that I really like the drop. And then she has various other. She has a Micklem, and she has a Kramer one, which is a bit like a copy of a Fairfax drop. I've tried her in all sorts of things because I really was trying to find what she found most comfortable.
Do you know if Tokyo is postponed or cancelled?
So the Tokyo Olympics and Paralympics, which was supposed to be 2020, they didn't happen. They were postponed until the same dates this coming year, 2021. So we don't know whether it will happen or not. But until there is an effective universal vaccine, until coronavirus is really under control, it's all a bit up in the air. Good girl. So we have to just keep going as though it's going to happen. Wonky. Dude. That way. There's only one way around this stable this evening, and it's that way. Good girl. We have to keep going as though we expect it to happen. And we're still working really hard. It's always an honour, a privilege, and an incredible achievement to represent your country at a major game. So you want to make sure that we are as ready as we can be, and have put everything we've got into it, so we can, if we do get picked, we can live up to the expectations that are put on us when we go and represent our country.
Okay.
How do you stabilise your lower leg in sitting trot? This is one I'm not entirely sure I have actually mastered myself. I have always struggled with this. I have really weak ligaments in my knees and my ankles. My ankles are very stiff, so I don't have great shock absorber sort of action in my ankles. So I have a tendency anyway for my lower leg to come away from the horse. I think hours and hours of sitting trot, so you learn to allow the weight to drop all the way down into your heel and to stay really relaxed in your leg. I think that's really important. That's probably the most important part about keeping your lower leg stable. If it's flying backwards and forwards, then you'll probably really tighten your hip, and if you can get your hip to relax, it'll allow your leg to stay under you. My lower leg has a tendency to bounce on and off the horse's side, so when you're looking at it from the horse side on, you don't really see the movement, but when you see the horse coming straight at you, you can see that my leg is moving in a way it shouldn't be. Now, there are ways you can use where you tie your stirrups to the girth to give you the feeling, good girl, of how your lower leg should sit. They can work for you. I have ridden with my legs tied. I don't find it a very comfortable experience because it's trying to tame my legs in ways they don't naturally go. Good girl. But I think it's all about getting your hips to relax, your knees to relax, and training your body to be the best shock absorber it can be without being too squidgy and lacking in tone. So that's a really good question. Why don't I show much cantering in my videos? I do train the canter, but I'm a grade 3 para dressage rider. That's because I have rheumatoid arthritis and I have the severe erosive idiopathic because they don't understand the progression of it or why I have it, and it's the juvenile form because at the onset of it was when I was a child, not because I'm still a child now, because I'm actually 40, which is a little bit scary and I can't understand quite how that happened. But there you go. So in my test as a grade 3 para dressage rider, I'm not expected to canter in my set tests, but in my freestyle I am actually allowed to do a small amount of canter if I wanted to. Now, it's not compulsory, and with this horse so far I haven't done, partly because our tests are in a 20 by 40 arena, and partly because although we can canter really quite nicely, it takes up extra time, and I would rather spend the time doing non-compulsory trot lateral work with her, which is always a highlight, rather than her canter work, which is nice, but it's not as awesome as her trot lateral work can be. Good girl. And that's why I don't spend as much time training in the canter as maybe an able-bodied rider who wasn't a grade 3 para dressage rider would.
Is snorting a good thing?
Snorting? Well, I hope snorting's a good thing, because I have a very snorty horse. Possibly one of those weird things about the type of horse Wonky is. Her Gelderlander breed are kind of known for their high-blowing, snorting tendencies. They are quite noisy horses. Not because she screams and whinnies a lot, but she snorts a lot. She's quite funny because when we get to shows, you get her off the lorry And she's this snorting dragon, getting all this attention on herself. Like, and you think, oh, right, so I've got to get on this. She looks crazy. But actually, it's not. It's just her way of releasing tension. A lot of horses do release tension by snorting. It's almost like us taking a big, deep sigh. So when the horses snort when I ride them, unless it's accompanied with lots of other tense behaviours like tail swishing, pinning their ears back, stamping their feet, snapping their heads up high quickly, I think snorting is generally quite a good thing. It's a horse processing their feelings and being in touch with their emotions, and usually just letting off tension so they can relax to a slightly deeper level. I certainly know that Wonky manages her tension. I think anxiety is too strong a word, but she manages any nervousness she feels by controlling her breathing, and the snorting is part of that. Good girl.
How long is your average schooling section?
I don't like to ride by the clock. Unfortunately, because I'm based at quite a busy riding school, we do have to keep an eye on the clock because there's always lessons coming in and other people wanting to use the arena. So I usually ride for around an hour. But what I like to do is do my walking work with her to warm her up. So we start with 5-10 minutes of walking on a pretty long rein, just getting the blood flowing again. And then after I've done that, I fail to get that in my pocket, that's what I do. Good girl. After we've done 5-10 minutes of walking on a long rein and just starting to get rid of any stiffness that she's got from standing in overnight, we then start to do 15-20 minutes of walk, lateral work where I'm working on getting her posture muscles really fired up, switching those on so she's really got really good posture, really good suppleness. It's a little bit like a ballerina doing their bar work. It's not particularly cardio, it's just quietly waking up the body in a sort of gentle bar work, yoga kind of way. If you wonder what I'm doing, I'm actually twisting her tail up before I start brushing it. I've just covered it in serum. It's all nice and feels really nice. It's all nice and slippery. And then I twist it up so it protects itself. And then I start brushing it, put it against my knee. So she's done 5-10 minutes worth of walking on a long rein, and then she's done 15-20 minutes worth of sort of this lateral work in walk, posture work, yoga, whatever you want to call it, which will bring her body temperature up a little bit. It's primed her muscles ready to do a bit more work. Then she'll do maybe 5 minutes of trot stretching. Maybe some sessions she might spend a bit longer doing that. It really depends what her body tells me. Some sessions we only do the walk work. We just wait for her body to tell me that it's really reaching over the top line. She's allowing the energy through. She feels really good and happy in her body. She's not got any tight bits. She's not blocking the energy anywhere. And then we move on to the trot stretching. I do quite a lot of trot stretching in sitting trot. That might possibly be because I'm a little bit lazy. I prefer sitting trot to rising. I find it much easier on my body, which I know many people won't understand, but rising trot is quite a dynamic thing, and sitting trot it just requires maybe a higher level of suppleness but in a smaller degree of motion. So it's a smaller range but a lot of suppleness and strength within that small range, and my body prefers that. But we still go for stretchy trot, moving her around, a little bit of lateral work in that stretchy trot, and then from there maybe I'll do a little bit of canter work, and then I'll start doing more demanding trot work up in maybe a bit more of a competition frame, usually alternating between competition frame and a little bit lower, maybe into a half long neck, maybe just letting her drop a little bit, and then we'll do a bit of canter work. At the moment we're doing quite a bit of canter work because during lockdown it's a really good opportunity when there are no shows for me to work on the canter without having to go back to sort of obsessing about and perfecting the trot ready for the para tests like in the next weekend. So I'm using this as an opportunity to work a bit more on the canter. We do some canter work, and then I usually let her have a short break in walk. When we're at the end of the working session, I like to let her have a short break in walk for her to get her breath back and get sort of maybe a bit more comfortable in her body again if she's starting to feel a bit like I've asked a lot. And then once she's had a couple of minutes walking around and sort of re-oxygenated herself, I go back to doing a little bit of trot stretching. And then if it's a nice day, it's not too windy, it's not raining, it's one of those nice Goldilocks days, which actually this summer we've had quite a lot of. That's still sweetheart. I take her for a hack. Wonky! That's not helpful, darling. I know. You want to be a camera lady when you grow up, don't you? There's a good girl. This evening she's been really obsessed with what Beth's doing in the corner, doing the camera work. It's the first time she's really taken this much notice of it in her stable. So it's really cute. From where I'm watching, it looks really, really cute. But probably all you can see is straight up her nose. So I brushed her tail through. And she is pretty much ready for, we've got a little short work session this evening, and then bed. Okay, dinner time and then bed. So just before I finish grooming her, I'm going to plait her. Sorry, I've got an elastic band in my mouth. I'm going to plait her tail back up so she's ready to go to bed, and I usually work her with her tail plaited because It's taken me the last 5 years to grow this tail. She came to me with a very sparse tail. I think one of her friends must have chewed it off. It didn't have any body to it, but now it's actually starting to get quite a nice tail. So I'm going to just plait this up. I hope you've enjoyed this little ASMR-y kind of Q&A video. I thought it might be nice to give you a little insight into our evening routine and talk to you all about all the things you've asked me. If you haven't already, please could you subscribe? I'm so thankful to everybody who does. Your support is just so valuable to me. It's lovely to see, and it really does help me feel inspired to keep going and making videos, more content. Please drop me some comments in the comment box below about what you would like to see in future videos. I really do take it all on. It's really hard when you're, especially in lockdown, you're not really seeing that many people to know what would interest the rest of the world. So if you could give me a clue, that would be lovely. So please hit the subscribe button and then you'll get more of our videos into your inbox. That's the end of this session tonight. So thank you very much and sweet dreams.